What's up everybody and welcome to another first look video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the all new Sony ZV-E1. Let's talk about it. The ZV-E1 has gained its popularity amongst the content creator community, and for a good reason. The camera is packed with Sony's latest video features and AI technology. And with all its intelligent auto features, it makes it really easy to just pick up the camera and shoot some great looking photos or video. Now up on the screen, I'm gonna put some of the technical information of the camera, so feel free to take a screenshot or to pause the video now. Also guys, if you do want to learn more about the new ZV-E1, make sure you guys head on over to our website, samys.com, and check it out for yourself. Now in the heart of the camera, you'll find a full frame 12.1 megapixel Exmor R sensor. Going with the lower megapixel sensor allows Sony to give us two great features. You get really fast and snappy autofocus technology, as well as low light performance. Two great features that are almost a must when shooting video. The camera can record up to 4K 60 frames per second, but Sony is telling us that in a future firmware update, we'll be able to record in 4K 120 frames per second, which is huge because that's one of the added benefits that I like with shooting with my Sony FX3. Now, although I did find myself shooting more video with this camera, I did manage to take a couple stills, and the photography side of it is everything that you would expect to have from a Sony mirrorless camera. It's got great features, good autofocus, in-body stabilization, and the lower megapixel sensor helps in low light performance if you're shooting astro or anything low light. Now taking a look at the outside of the camera, you can see it's very small and compact and reminiscent to the 6000 series cameras. And I must say, Sony sent this to me with the shooting grip that also is a remote control, and I've got to say these two are a perfect pair, and I probably would not buy it without the handle. It made it so that I can get some awesome wide angle selfie shots using the 16 to 35 PZ, and this setup right here allows you to zoom in and out because there's a zoom rocker here. You can take photos, you have a dedicated video button, you have a custom button that you can assign to whatever you want, and then you have a lockout so that you don't accidentally change your settings while you're recording. But it also opens up and becomes a tripod, which made it really easy for me to put the camera down and take some selfies of me and my family. It's also good to note that the zoom rocker on all of these products are independent from one another. So you could set up a speed for each one individually, allowing you to maybe set one up for just composition, nice and fast, and then another one for when you're recording, which is what I did with the handle. So I was able to zoom in and out nice and slow when I'm using the handle. But if I want to just set the composition in my shot, then I can do it quickly with the zoom rocker on the lens. Taking a look at the top of the camera, we're gonna focus on the left-hand side. That's gonna be our multi-function hot shoe. You're able to use the Sony microphones or a flash if you need to. We have the switch that will allow you to switch from a photo, video mode, and a slow and quick mode. We do have a really nice, big, dedicated video record button that is really easy to find. Thank you for doing that. And above that, we have our zoom rocker. And like I said, you can set the zoom speeds individually from the lens and the camera itself, and you can do that in the menu system. You have your on and off switch, and right below that there is our custom 1 button, our C1 button, and this is set up out of the box to be our background defocus button. You can use this to either focus on a specific subject that you want in your shot, or maybe blur out unwanted faces or something like that in the background. It's really nice to have. But if you're not doing that and you're shooting content like recording for a podcast, you could use the built-in microphones in this camera. And Sony has done a really nice thing and added the ability to change the pickup pattern of the microphone itself. So you can now change it from front, back, 360, or you can just put it on auto and let the camera decide for itself, which does a pretty decent job. So here we are in Muir Woods, and I think this is a great opportunity to try out the directional microphone, and the fact that now you have this auto function, which will switch from like a full-on 360 to a directional microphone, whether you're in the front and the back. So I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna turn the camera around and see if it switches for us. Here we go. So guys, we're in Muir Woods. Look at this, how beautiful it is. And now I'm facing the back of the camera. So I'm hoping the microphone switched over, maybe it's at 360. And right now we're gonna go through it manually. So now you guys should be hearing me from the microphone. Now the direction is set to the front. And this is me talking. Now I'm gonna flip it over and talk in the back and see how that looks without switching it over. All right guys, so this is me talking with the microphone set to the front. All right, and now we're gonna set it to the rear. So now I'm talking in front of the camera, but the microphone is set to the rear. You guys let me know how that sounds. You can probably hear the little creak better than me. All right, and now we are recording with the microphone here. I am behind the microphone and the direction is set to the rear. So it should be picking me up pretty nicely. Last but not least, let's go ahead and switch it over to the full all directions. And this is me recording with the microphone set to all directions. On the back side of the camera, we've got our nice vari-angle LCD screen. We have our other custom buttons, a rocker wheel, and we have our FN button. On the left side of the camera, we find all our I/O, and from the top down, we have our dedicated microphone jack. We have a USB-C that will allow for transfer and charging. You have a SDXC2 card reader, as well as a micro HDMI and dedicated headphone jack. The camera is powered by a Sony FZ100 battery, the same battery that's in most of the A series, which tends to be a really nice long-lasting battery and does really good with 4K footage. Sony sent us a kit with the FE28-60 lens. That's really nice if you just need something basic. The ability for it to collapse is really nice and makes it a really small package when that's what you're carrying with you. Two other lenses that Sony let us use with the camera was the FE20-70G f4 lens and 16-35 f4 PZ lens. I found myself sticking to the 16-35 for most of my shots, as I really find using the zoom capability to give you some pretty dynamic shots. But when it came time to zooming in, I switched over to the 20-70G, and it was really nice having the capability of zooming in to 70 millimeters. All right, now that we're done talking about the exterior of the camera, let's talk about all the goodies that Sony has put into this camera. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this camera is very content creator heavy, where it's just kind of meant to give you these really nice creature comforts that I'm sure most of us are going to grow attached to, and it's going to make our job a lot easier. So paired up with the 5-axis in-body stabilization that you find in the new ZV-E1, you get a new mode called Dynamic Active Stabilization. I tried this out, and I kid you not, I didn't mind the partial zoom in, and after a while I just left it on and started shooting because I was shooting with a handle, not a gimbal, and it looks like I was using one. Now it's nice that Sony has included the ability to record an S-Log3 with this camera, but they've also introduced a new feature called Cinematic Vlog. Sony knows that vlogging has become a very popular form of content creation, and so they've included some pretty cool settings and features that will make your content just look that much better. It adds black bars to the top and bottom of your footage, and it also allows you to access a menu system of different looks and styles, then combine to create a custom look. Another ability of this camera is the auto framing feature. It tracks you as a subject or whatever subject you're shooting, zooms in, and keeps that subject in the middle of the frame. Now, the limitations are of the sensor and lens that you're using, so as soon as you are off camera, it obviously stops tracking you. But as soon as you jump back in frame, then it picks up where you're at again and zooms back in on you. It's a pretty unique feature and great if you are shooting content with products, or maybe you're shooting a lecture and you're broadcasting it. There's also a new feature that allows the camera to focus in on a product. It's called Product FC Set, and you have to turn it on in the menu system. And once you do, it prioritizes a product and it'll recognize an object in the frame and keep the focus on that versus yourself. So as I'm talking right now, if this was a product video, I'm going to show you the nice new lens here, that 50mm f1.4G Master. I'm going to be doing a video on this as well pretty soon. You see how it prioritizes the lens over me, which is going to be really nice if you are a product reviewer. Helps out a lot, right? There's a lot of other great features Sony has included in this camera, like breathing compensation, really easy to use smartphone connectivity, and the body is dust and moisture resistant. In the end, it was really nice shooting with the ZV-E1, and I think Sony hit it out of the park. The camera was really easy to shoot with. The intelligent auto settings combined with the features like the stabilization and the tracking were just really nice to have and are some really nice tools if you are creating content. The cinematic vlogging gives you the ability to create really nice styles without having to understand how to color grade, and it makes it really easy for creators at the end to get some awesome footage with some awesome technology. I want to thank Sony for letting us borrow this camera. And guys, if you want to check out this camera or want to learn more, make sure you head on down to one of our Southern California retail locations or visit us online at samys.com. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing so that you get the latest in photo and video. That's going to do it for us here today, guys. Stay safe and I'll see you in the next one.